Ultimately, the entire goal of the Vivonomics philosophy of management is to articulate that there's not just money and time in place when you're compensating somebody for their work. We have a whole range of life coins involved in the transaction process between employer and employee. That means that when it's time to talk about compensation and about the worker experience, you need to draw from all 7 of the Vivonomics life coins, not just money, when you're thinking about the worker experience and how you're going to pay them for their efforts. This means, in essence, there's more than one way to pay an employee, not just with money, but with some of the other life coins that the Vivonomics philosophy addresses. So a great example of this is a quick little video clip I saw earlier this week where Jocko Willink is talking about when it's time for an employee to quit their job. Let's check out the video clip together and see what wisdom we can draw from this.
Oftentimes, we get asked that question, when is it time for me to leave a company? So in other words, there's sometimes people are working inside of an organization and they're trying to take ownership. They're trying to do the right thing. They're trying to be loyal to the company. And they don't know when it's time to leave. Because if you take extreme ownership to an extreme, well, then they're going to stay there forever. And everything is their fault. And when projects don't get completed, it's their fault and they could have done better. And that's actually not the right answer in a very drawn-out fashion. So if I am making efforts and I'm escalating things as an employee, if I work for you, Leif, and I say, hey, Leif, I haven't talked to you about this yet, but we need better tools down on the manufacturing floor. And you say, I think you can get by with what you've got. And then I escalate that to, hey, Leif, I just walked around the past week and I've been looking at the tools and I've actually got some pictures to show you. These things are unsafe and we're probably going to get some people hurt. And on top of that, it's hurting our efficiency. And you say, yeah, when I was younger, I used to do the worse tools than that. And then someone gets hurt, and now I write a point paper. And I say, hey, we've had one guy get injured. I think it's because these tools, they're not up to par with what they need to be. We really need to improve the conditions for the team down here. Is there anything I can do that could help us move and get forward to making something happen to improve these working conditions? And you say, hey, you know what? We're not doing that kind of thing right now. We don't have the budget for it. We're trying to do a lot of other things in the company right now, and worker safety is not important. And at a certain point, I bring it up the next chain of command or bring it up at the all-hands meeting, and your boss and his boss all say, look, we don't care about the tools. The same tools we used. You guys should be fine. You guys need to suck it up. Eventually, I got to say, you know what? I'm going to start putting my resume out there to some other people.
So what's happening in this fictitious scenario that Jocko Willink is describing? You have an employee and an employer situation where the employee is coming to the manager or the employer and actually taking an ownership approach to the entire situation, which is an amazing position to be in as a manager or an owner. When you have employees who are taking a sense of ownership and a sense of pride over the work they're doing, that relieves you of a lot of pressure. You don't have to worry about motivating your employees when they're taking on a sense of ownership themselves. But in this situation, the employee is going to the employer or the manager and saying, look, we have a problem here on the floor. It's affecting our quality of work. It's affecting our safety. And this is where the Vivonomics approach to the entire situation really articulates what's going on. The employee is addressing the situation, addressing issues like security, addressing issues like quality of work. What they're communicating is there's a debit happening between a few different life coins on the job. There is the mission coin, which is measured by how is the work we're doing actually getting us closer to the stated goal of the organization or not. There is the security coin, which is measured by, in part, are the people on the job actually safe in their work. There's the well-being coin, which measures the emotional, psychological stress of the situation. What the employee is actually saying is that these coins are being debited by the experience, and we need to have those credited by having improved worker conditions and improved tools for our work. If you are a hiring manager, small business owner, or just wanting to do leadership a little better in your organization, let's get connected. Subscribe and follow us, and check out the other resources we have for you right here in the notes. And now, back to the episode. In this fictitious scenario, the VPS, the personality system of the employee, could be measured as an eagle, which is someone who really values knowledge and mission, and really takes a sense of ownership over the company and wants the company to succeed. The employee in question might score as a jungle bird, which is the animal archetype that really values the output and quality of their own work and does not want to be hampered by any sort of limitations that the company might put on them. As security is an issue in this exchange, the employee might score as a sheepdog, which is security-minded and very process-oriented. In any of these cases, if the employee in question scores as some combination of these three animals, if the employee is a eagle, the quality of the company is suffering and they're being turned off by that and find it harder and harder to be loyal to that company. If the employee scores as a jungle bird, they are becoming embarrassed by the poor output of the company, and it's limiting their own quality, and they want to see themselves improve and grow in stature in their own career, and it's being hampered by the poor quality of the workplace. And of course, if the worker in question scores as a sheepdog, security is at risk, people are getting hurt, and it's very likely that another accident is going to happen very soon. So the lesson I wanted to draw from this is, yes, of course, make your workplace safe. Yes, of course, listen to the complaints of your employee. But even more importantly, listen to this. There are 7 life coins at play, not just money. There's also time. There's also autonomy. There's also security. There's also well-being. There's also knowledge. And there's also mission. When you are looking at your yearly budget, don't just think about how you're going to compensate your employees with money. Think about how you're going to compensate them with the other 6 life coins as well. This employee in this fictitious situation is not asking for a raise. They're asking for you to make a small investment to improve your tools. Had the employer in this fictitious situation actually done that, they would in essence be giving the entire team a raise without actually having to raise anyone's salary. If the employer had invested it in better tools and a safer working condition, they are in essence giving the entire team a raise in the realm of security and well-being and mission. And in the case of this fictitious employee who's raising this alarm, these are the life coins that team member is wanting. They're asking for a raise, a credit in those 3 life coin accounts, so to speak. So remember, when it comes to compensating your team, don't just think about money. Think about the other life coins they value and how you can credit those accounts for them. That will assure a more satisfactory worker relationship with your team and keep them engaged for the long term. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe and pass this along to somebody else who might see some value from it. We look forward to seeing you in the next video.